general with the policies we have in place and in this year in particular. So my name is Andrea Mata, and I'm a member of Change the State. And Change the State is really a group of parents and educators and other community members that works together to challenge what we see as the very negative impacts of high-stakes testing. So, we're concerned about a whole range of testing issues, and a lot of us are not opposed to standardized testing as a means of assessment, but it's really the stakes and the pressure associated with it that are of primary concern for us. So I think, we've all heard that one of the things that's different about this year is that we have the new exams that were rolled out by the state that are Common Core aligned. And there's been a lot of concern around them, a lot of acknowledgement that they really are quite experimental. You had, Randy Weingarten, teachers union, some national figures acknowledging this and really pushing for them not to be counted this year for the purposes of the new teacher evaluation. And sort of some consensus that made sense. But meanwhile, for the students, there was no such concession made. And we have the continuation of student promotion decisions really being made on almost exclusively on the basis of state standardized tests. So we have some parents together here and teachers and educators who are prepared to speak about what we see is and what we've heard about children who have not been promoted on the basis of our ineffective promotions policies. I myself am one of those parents. This is the second year in a row that my child has not been promoted in June. So again, the types of children that this affects is both children who have received a relatively low score on one or both of the state exams, on the ELA or the math, and also the ever-increasing number of students who are from families that have decided to opt out of the state exams. So I think we have a number of parents here today that fall into that category. And basically, the opt-out parents are treated the same as the children are treated the same as children who have received a low score. They enter this different category of assessment in June that's portfolio assessment. That again is really based on performance on a test. It's a different test. It's really called the Black Line Masters test. It's something that not a lot of parents in schools inform parents about the details of the Black Line Masters. But what's interesting about the Black Line Masters assessment is that students really have to achieve the very highest score, a high 2 they call it, which is the highest score possible on the Black Line Masters in order to be promoted in June. And if you don't reach that standard, or if in the superintendent's assessment you don't reach that standard, you're not promoted. You're very strongly encouraged to go to summer school. The DOE usually doesn't acknowledge it, but when they recommend a child for summer school, they cannot mandate a child for summer school. It's something that's not disclosed publicly very often. Most families are told by a school that a child must attend summer school, and that's really not the case. Then you also enter the August retesting, which is the same situation. You cannot be forced to retest in August, but many children are strongly recommended. But the overall concern we have is just that the whole decision about a child's readiness to be promoted to next grade has been taken out of the hands of the people who are in the best position to make that decision, which is the teachers and the educators who know the child and know the child's work and their achievement and learning over the course of the year. So there's really many cases, hundreds if not thousands. We don't know the exact number. It's something that you can certainly ask the Department of Education to tell you of portfolios that have been recommended to superintendents by principals that the child is ready, that this child has performed, and superintendents routinely rejecting the recommendation of those educators that know that child. That is a situation that has happened to my child, again, for the second year in a row, last year in 3rd grade, and this year again in 4th grade. And so we're going to have to do the same thing that we did last year, where we're not sending him to summer school because he really does not have a specific academic deficiency, and certainly not one that would be remedied by the summer school that's available to children in New York City, which is basically additional test prep. We don't think he should be subjected to more testing in August because we think that he has met the standards and demonstrated that he has. So we will be going through the appeals process again in August. There are some other parents here who have taken additional action over the past couple weeks that have gotten some different results and interesting results in terms of some reversals of their initial denial of promotion on the basis of them individually reaching out to leadership at the Department of Education. So that's another concern we have, that that it really takes sort of an individual savvy parent with connections and the ability to reach, and have a conversation with a deputy chancellor or some very high-level position in the Department of Education for some sort of change to happen at the local and district level. And we think that that's really an indication of a deficiency in the policy itself. We don't know exactly how many students, as I said, are in this position. We know that there are definitely opt-out students, many of them, possibly as many as 100, and many more than that, students who are just students that don't perform, that have not performed well on the exams. And the school has determined that the child is ready, but the district has not accepted that recommendation. So I'm going to stop speaking for a while because I think I've gone on way longer than my allocation. But I would love to introduce whoever's ready to be next. And I mean, I don't think any of us are here today to talk about specific teachers or specific superintendents or people that we think have failed us. It's really a systemic policy and practice failing that we have underway. So